Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Hidden Oaks Overdose Football Fix podcast. I am one of your lovely hosts, the Garlic Johnson. We are joined, as always, by our other lovely hostess, the Joshua Mitchell. Josh, say hi to the folks out there.
Pew, pew. Hi, folks. Pew.
We appreciate everyone who listens. We appreciate people in the Discord. Yada, yada. We're not going through the whole spiel. It is our very first pod of the preseason. We haven't podded since the draft, but we're back in. We're back at it now. It's Wednesday, August 14th, 2024. Josh, the football season is mere weeks away. Do you even feel like you're ready at all? I feel like the summer was a blur, but maybe it was just me slacking off.
No, yeah, it was kind of a blur. I guess I slacked off too, but I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to it because I already saw the future.
Oh, okay. Are you going to let the people know what you saw in that future?
Over the next two pods, yeah.
Whoa, dude, that's pretty generous of you, honestly. Well, Josh, so we haven't spoken on microphones at least since, I want to say May or April. It had to have been May. Or no, it might have been April if we did a doesn't matter. Since the spring. Any significant thing happened in your life since then?
What, that the people should know about? No, not really.
Oh, come on, Josh. The people want to know about everything.
Well, it's just Mika listening, and I feel like he's going to use it against me in some way, shape, or form. So I'll limit it to the fact that not much has happened, other than I got to score the game-winning run in our final game of the season on your game-winning hit because why not?
Yeah, bro. I was the final RBI. Oh, and you already ran Mika away. Oh, but he's back. Yeah, I got the final game-winning RBI for softball this year. That felt pretty good. What can I say, ladies? Threw it. It was dangerously close to the pitcher. I hated that, but you know what? Didn't hurt nobody. Went right down the middle. Everything worked out just fine. But no, so the family's good, wife's good, kid's good, dog. Yeah. Odin's still on the mend. I was just at your house recently. Odin's still recovering. Still
on the mend. His one leg's healed, but the other one's still kind of rough. We think he partially tore that ACL, so that's fun. But I'm sure he'll wait to fully tear it and need surgery right when I submit that final payment for his first one, because that's how life goes.
But isn't it though, for him to wait like that?
Yeah. Oh, and then yesterday was fun pulling in the parking lot. Asher just decided to spew chunks all over the backseat of my car. I brought him down to my work so my dad and stepmom could pick him up to watch him for the day, and pull it right into the parking spot. He must have seen my building and and just expressed what I always think whenever I see the building, and just barf.
Just like that, huh? That's crazy.
Yeah. How about you, Gar? Anything new? How many kids you up to?
Oh, I'm up to 17 kids, and boy, I tell you, it's a lot easier when you just tell them to fend for themselves, when you stop worrying about feeding them and housing them and whatever else. You're just like, all right, you're 4, go get a job, you bum. Like, oh my God, they're annoying, but you know what? It just feels good making them, so.
Yeah.
You just yawned at my beautiful love story? But no, yeah. I can't think of anything too significant over the summer. I've been pretty busy. Sister graduated high school. I've done a lot of cabin trips. And I've still got one more coming up this weekend. And I've been slacking off on the podcast. I've been slacking off on fantasy. I've gotten pretty into like a mobile game that's taking up some of my time. But I'm excited for the football season. So we will see what life has in store for us as we continue to move. Anywho, Josh, for the people who don't know, 4 minutes is enough of preamble nonsense. We are here doing the 272. It used to be the 256, I want to say. I don't remember. But we predict every single regular season NFL game, and we've done that every single year of the podcast. And this is podcast season 6, I want to say. Season 7, maybe? We are gluttons for punishment is the point. We have predicted over 1,000 football games at this point. Some would say we're crazy, and we would be part of those some. Probably 1,500 football games at this point. Anyways, so we've predicted every single game, and today we're going to be talking to you guys about the AFC and what we think the 16 AFC teams are going to do, all their wins and losses, and then we'll even dabble into the playoff teams based on that. Not too deep, nothing crazy, but mainly just talking about why we think a team's going to perform well or going to perform poorly in this 2024-2025 NFL football season. And as we start that, Josh, we should probably talk about how we did last year to let the people know how accurate we are, how good we are at guessing things. If we're going to guess all these games every year, is it worth a damn? So we both have the document open, Josh. Looking briefly over your performance last year, how did you do in predicting 272 NFL games?
Well, according to this, I got 1,817% of the games correct.
Is that good?
Yeah, maybe. No, I mean, overall last year, I had some positives and some negatives. I had 9 teams that I got smack dab right on as far as overall wins, losses. 5 with 1 game away. 4 of them with 2 games away. And then big jump down. I had 5 teams with 5 games off, 3 teams with 6 games off. So I was really either right on or darn close, horseshoes worthy, or way out of the ballpark.
Damn. Okay. So yeah, you were really hot or really cold. What were some of your best divisions? If you just scroll slightly to your right there, what was your best and worst division?
Best division, NFC North, obvi. Worst division, and then in the AFC was the AFC East. Worst divisions, I would say NFC East. That was a bad one. And then for the AFC, it was the AFC North and the AFC West, because those divisions don't matter.
Okay, not bad. Moving on to me, Josh. I had you had way more right-ons than me. I only had 3 teams that I was right on for last year. Was Denver, Miami, and Washington. And then I had a lot of really close calls. So if you want to talk about horseshoes, I had the horseshoes down. I had 9 teams I was just 1 win away on, and 9 teams I was just 2 wins away on. So I was really good at getting it close in the ballpark. And then I had 4 teams that I was 5 wins off on. So, you know, there were some 3s and 4s in there as well. I was just capturing the extremes, but I had a lot of teams there. How many teams is that? Well, 3 + 9 + 9, 21 teams within 2 wins. So I feel pretty good about that performance. Moving on to my divisions, it looks like my best division was the NFC East for some reason.
False.
Oh, am I reading it wrong? Do I want the lower percentage? I probably want the lower percentage, huh? My best division was it looks like, was it a 3-way tie? Am I reading this correctly? It was a 3-way tie for the AFC North, the AFC South. And
that's the week to week. I was just doing the overall games off.
I don't even know how to read my own fucking document. I'm stupid. All right. As I was saying, my best division, 3rd time's the charm. My best division was the NFC West. And my worst division was the AFC South. Even I thought Houston was going to be good. I did not think Houston was going to be that good. And then Tennessee really, really disappointed me last year, just like the Giants did. But the NFC North, I was pretty close as my 2nd best division. And I did not have a close 2nd worst division. So overall, Josh, I'd say we're pretty good. We're pretty good at this. And yeah, the folks really should know what we're saying, and or should really listen to what we're saying, because we know what we're talking about. Josh, you feel like you're ready to start talking about this year's AFC predictions?
Yeah.
All right. And I don't think we used to do a timer for this bit. I don't think we need to do a timer since we're just doing 16 teams. But, you know, don't need to go too crazy in depth about your thinking. You and I will just go back and forth as we always do, and then we will we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Josh, you want to talk to us about the Baltimore Ravens?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I got it. Sorry, I was just trying to pull up my sheet.
Josh,
Baltimore.
How were you not ready?
No, I had it up. I just had to. I have 44 tabs, and I just had to find the right one.
That's insane behavior. That's psychopath behavior, Josh.
Well, I have 75 documents on my desktop too, so.
All right, I know.
I'm a dad, so I just got to do dad things. Yeah.
God. Okay.
You should see me when I read a text message. I have to get my readers out.
Yeah, and you always end everything with a period, you heathen.
Yeah. So Baltimore, I had them going 13-4. I did not do anything as far as like division lead or anything like that at this point for playoffs, because I figured that would be next episode. So if it wasn't the plan, that's what it is anyways now.
Sure, you're
but
the boss.
Last year, they were 4th in points for. Obviously, having the MVP and Lamar helps. and then first in points against. So they were one of the best defenses. I said this year they might win their 13 games with Lamar only throwing 1 touchdown a game. And then him and Derrick Henry, who their big offseason ad, rushing for 40 more.
Okay. Yeah, I think you're pretty close there, Josh. I also had the Baltimore Ravens going 13-4. My notes were very brief, and I did not go deep into the analysis like you did there. At least the one site you looked at. I just said they're continually one of the league's premier teams. I have them power ranked 3rd out of the 32 teams. You have them power ranked 5th, so we're only off each other by 2. We both agree. I think that this is a Super Bowl contending team, and they are right on the money on offense, on defense, and they're in it until the bitter end. So, Baltimore Ravens, we both think are going to be a great team this year.
And I do have an experts pick, and the experts pick was on, I think it's Mike Clay on ESPN. I found like a document somewhere where it was like I think it was like a 95-page document that detailed the entire 2024 NFL season team by team. And
so he's a psychopath like us.
I managed to find his like season predictions for wins, losses, and so he thinks they're going to win 11.3 games. I tried to send him an email and say, "How do you win 0.3 of a game, dum dum?" But just kicked back saying I don't have access to his email.
Get fucked. All right. So thank you, Mike Clay. Moving on to the Buffalo Bills. This has been a team that's been hot for the past, I don't know, what would you say, 3 to 5 years, 3 to 4 years. They've been one of the premier teams of the AFC as well. A lot of shootouts, a very offensive heavy team. I have them going 10-7 this year. Just the only little note that I wrote is this is a team that is destined to fall off. And how far will they drop? I think 10 might be generous, but sometimes, Josh, I know you do this with me. You're just kind of making you're making your predictions, and you go, well, shit, I gave the Buffalo Bills 10 wins. They're probably not worth 10 wins, but based on their schedule week to week, they could easily beat 10 teams. So, maybe that number's a little inflated, but they're still a team with talent. Josh Allen is obviously, it all starts and stops with him. So I think, I don't know. It's a team on the fall, not on the rise, but I still got them 10 wins for this year. Josh, what do you think about them Bills?
I had them getting 11 and going 11-6. Last season, they were 6th in points for, 4th in points against. Their defense, I don't believe, has changed a whole lot. Offense, they lost Stephon Diggs. And so they lost Gabe Davis, who really was just good for 2 touchdowns a game, every fourth week of the season. Yeah. So the big question mark is that offense, but they do have Dawson Knox and Dalton Kincaid, 2 tight ends who can catch the ball. They've drafted a wide receiver, and so it's one of those things where their 6th in points for is definitely going to come from the arm and legs of Josh Allen. And then James Cook stepped it up as well. So I don't see them being as solid on offense, but I do think that they could get 11 wins out of it all. Moving on to Cincinnati. I have them going 12-5. Big Bad Burrow back and beating bad teams is one of the reasons why. Last season, they were 16th in points for. And so, you'd expect that to improve with the full season of Joey B. 21st in points against. But with Burrow back, I think my biggest concern for their offense is the run game. And their defense struggled, but when their offense isn't, going down the field with long drives, it just kind of hurts morale. And I assume the defense was sad.
All right. I've got them going 11-6. So just 1 win beneath you. In these first 3 teams, we've only been, 2 off in our power ranking so far. I think as long as, with a lot of these teams, right, it's a quarterback driven league. I wrote down as long as Burrow stays healthy, there's a Super Bowl, I can't talk tonight, Super Bowl contender annually. And I think health is going to be the biggest factor for most teams, so I'm not really saying anything novel here. But we've seen how this team can look without Burrow, and it is pretty sad. Their defense, I don't think people give their defense enough credit sometimes. But you know what? I think Cincinnati, I don't know. I feel like there's so many contending teams, but Cincinnati is certainly one of them. So it's hard to vote against them, even if Zach Taylor is pretty goofy sometimes. I don't know. Moving on, Josh, and the experts have them at 10.4. So moving on, Josh, to the Cleveland Browns. This is actually a team I found myself really liking this year as I was going through the wins and losses. It could just be that they have an easy schedule. It could just be that I believe that all the BS that was hanging over this team for so long is finally fully behind them. So I got them 10-7, and I like this team a lot this year. I had them winning a lot more early in the season and then having them kind of sputtering out mid to late season. So, my prediction is that they start off with a good, 6-2 record or something. They really shoot out of the gate strong and then temper things a little bit. But I have them power rank 16. I think I shouldn't say I think I know I have them as one of my playoff teams, one of the wild card teams, and so I think exciting things can come out of Cleveland this year, Josh. I know some people, myself included, could still feel conflicted cheering for a Deshaun Watson, but we're talking about what could happen on the football field, and that's what the focus is today. So I think they could win 10 times. What about you, Josh?
I don't see them being like as I don't see them. I have them at 9 wins, I guess I should say first. Last year they were 10th in points for, 13th in points against, but Watson has not played like he did before the trade to Cleveland.
For sure.
Their defense is the reason they win games with the 13 point, or even if they are 13th in points allowed, that defense put more points for that offense, I think, than anything. I don't know how Pro Football Reference calculates their points for if the defensive points count. But I don't think that Watson is as good as his contract says he should be. And so Amari Cooper still on the team, yes. But who else? Nick Chubb is coming off of a play where I saw his knee bone touch his elbow bone in his body, not like you're touching your elbow to your knee. His knee bone went all the way up to his elbow through his thigh and his hips. So it was one of those injuries. I have them at 9 and 8, still kind of a middle of the pack team. But yeah, I don't know. I always find myself giggling when I read things like Deshaun Watson just overthrew a ball in 7-on-7 with the defense laying down on the ground. But yeah, and he's not playing in any of the preseason games, it sounds like. So here's 7 days ago, he flipped a ball on the sideline after having to scramble. On the next play, he kicked it after being sacked. Even on a 50-yard touchdown throw, he underthrew his wide receiver by about 10 yards.
Dude, shout out to Deshaun Watson. Fully guaranteed contract. Doesn't matter what he does anymore.
Exactly. Moving on, Denver. Last season, Denver was 19th in points for, and then 27th in points against, which is just kind of, to me, that was shocking to find out. I have them going 6-11 this year. They somehow won 9 games last year. And so the 6 that they get, it'll be stumbled upon, but I do think that they'll, luck their way into a few wins.
Yeah, I didn't even give them that much grace. The experts have them at 5 wins, Mr. Mike Clay, and I have them going 1-16. The note I wrote was simply, in all caps, LMAO. I have them power rank 31st. I think the Denver Broncos will be a gutter of the NFL team this year. So you and I disagree by 10 power rank points or places. Even though you're not high on them by any means, but I have them at the lowest of low. And I don't think maybe Sean Payton could do something, but after who'd they get? Bo Nix, right? I don't. Bo Nix and Zach Wilson and Jared Stidham is their quarterback room, I believe. It's those that's their 3-headed monster. So I do not expect big things or even little things from Mile High Stadium this year. Moving on to the Houston Texans, Josh. This team absolutely took the league by storm last year. I don't even want to say people were sleeping on CJ Stroud, but I think the attitude of me and most football fans is, all right, let's give him a year. It's brand new head coach DeMeco Ryans. All right, let's just give him some time. There's a lot of promise here, a lot of talent here. They could figure it out with time. But they're like, nah, man, this is going to be our league this year. And they had very exciting football, a lot of offense, good defense too. I have them going 12-5 this year. I have them power ranked 5th. with. I don't want to go quite so far as to say they're a Super Bowl contender, but I think they're an incredibly talented team. The only thing I would peg against them is their youth, and their experience. And we've already seen some young teams and some young coaches get into the playoffs recently, like the Eagles and the Bengals. So I don't know. I'm still an old school minded guy. Relax. I'm still an old school minded guy. So I don't think this is the Texans' year to win it all. But man, they're an exciting team, and they're going to be in it within the next 3 to 5 years, I think. So, Josh, what do you think about them Texans?
Well, you mentioned young teams making the playoffs, and the Green Bay Packers were the youngest team on average.
I was also talking about the Super Bowl when I was saying that. That was the most recent context. But anyways, continue.
You did just say playoffs, but anyways, Houston, 9.1 wins is what Mike Clay had them getting. We had them ranked a little bit higher. I had them getting 13 points for last year. They were 13th in points against. They were 11th. So their defense, even though everyone talks about their offense, their defense was humming. Sophomore slumps are real, and they can happen. But they have a lot of talent on both sides of the ball that can cover up things as they pop up. They signed Joe Mixon, who depends on who you ask, is a good running back, isn't a good running back. I don't even know anymore. Was it the old line in Cincy? Who cares? Stephon Diggs, he's a little long on the tooth these days, they're saying, but who knows? He might be a little rejuvenated with CJ Stroud and DeMeco Ryans calling plays. Plus, it's likely he's not going to be the focal point of defenses with Nico Collins, Tank Dell, whoever else on that team. So I have them going 13-4.
Okay, exciting times.
To the Carmel Bear Colts. He doesn't listen to this, and I'm not even sure he exists anymore. But Indianapolis Colts. I have them going 8-9 this year. I didn't even realize that they were 9-8 last year until I started looking at this. But they were 10th in points for, and then 28th in points against. Their defense was a big question mark. I don't think they did enough to better the D to win more than 8 games. Anthony Richardson, he could potentially swing that from 8 to 10, depending on how his development has gone. But with him being injured last year and rehabbing surgery, who knows if it was any productive development. I know that they did draft edge to begin this offseason, but edge rush, there hasn't been many who just jump right in as a productive. I don't think that they'd be enough to correct 28th most points allowed.
It's not quite like a Bosa level player that came out this year, or even an Aiden Hutchinson. But yeah, that's an interesting point. They were able to do plenty of offense, but just could not get the defense done. I was a little bit more bullish on the Indianapolis Colts. I have them going 10-7. I do really think Anthony Richardson is a very exciting player. Obviously, his big thing was what is it called? The RAS, the relative athletic score, whatever the hell it is. The dude's a freak. We saw him take a lot of hits early and often last year that ultimately knocked him out of the season. So obviously, that's a concern. But I think Shane Steichen could do some exciting things if Anthony Richardson stays out there. And I don't know. This team, I don't believe I technically had them making the playoffs. I have them right on the bubble. But this, in my mind, could be a wild card team. Again, they're young, but it's an offensive league, and Steichen proved to be one of the great minds when he was leading Jalen Hurts over in Philadelphia. So I don't know. The Indianapolis Colts excite me a little bit more than you. You're absolutely right about the defense, but they're just going to have to score enough points to overcome. Moving on to the Jacksonville Jaguars, I have them also going 10-7, whereas Mike Clay has them at 8-4. I have them power ranked number 17. I had the Colts 19 for what it's worth. I didn't say that, but I have the Jacksonville Jaguars power ranked 17. I think they should be a solid squad, even with Ridley gone. I know there's a little bit more turnover that I can't think of off the top of my head, but I'm a believer in the organization. I'm a believer in the head coach. So, I think Jacksonville isn't quite going to fall off just yet, but someone else might be thinking Jacksonville has dark days ahead. Josh, what do you think the Jaguars are going to do this year?
I think that the Jacksonville Jaguars have some dark days ahead. They just gave Trevor Lawrence enough money to buy his shampoo that he needs. Last season, they were 13th in points for, 17th in points against, but they lost contributors on both sides. A lot of ups and downs last year where they were going through, I know they had some injuries here and there with Trevor Lawrence. But they did just lose 2 of their wide receivers, I believe. They're bringing back Christian Kirk, who is, I think, a 5th, 6th-year receiver who looks like he's in his 40th. Travis Etienne is another year older, running back position. And so I don't know. I have them going. I think I said it already, 6-11. But it's all kind of depending on how that development goes for Trevor Lawrence, and if he could stay healthy. So I gave them. I think 6 is where I'd stay if I were to go back and redo it all. Moving on to the 2-time defending champions, Kansas City Chiefs. I have them going 15-2. Everybody knows, everybody seems to be getting sick of the Chiefs, sick of Patrick Mahomes, sick of them. But the only thing that I can say is Big Red I will never get sick of Big Red. So 15-2. Last year they were 15th in points for and 2nd in points against. So their defense is the reason that they were winning games. They're just an anomaly. So Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. And then that defense, if they can stay in that range that they were last year, then it's just going to be a three-peat. Gar, what do you have the Chiefs doing?
Yeah, I have the Chiefs going 13-4. Again, you and I both recognize this is the best team in the league. We both have them power rank numero uno. I think I just gave them a couple fluke wins because that's ultimately how the seasons end up going. Maybe they have the bye at the end of the year. Maybe they've secured the bye at the end of the year, so they're sitting people. Maybe someone gets hurt or banged up for a game or knocked out of a game or whatever. So I think 4 losses is not unreasonable. I think, what was their record last year? I don't remember. I know they stumbled. They were stumbling last year, but ultimately won the Super Bowl, so it didn't matter.
11-6.
Yeah, see, exactly. So 13-4 is not a disrespectful number by any means. Just when you think, so going 11-6 last year, this is why I wrote my note. I said, just when you think they're done being the league's best team, bam. And so Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes have always proven they can find a way, and do not sleep on that Steve Spagnuolo defense. He is continuing to whip it up out there. So the Chiefs, number 1 still. Moving on to the Chargers, and I'll admit right now I am biased, and I don't care that I'm biased. Mike Clay has them going 8-9. I have them going 12-5. I know they just lost some receivers. I know they've lost a lot of their old heads and old talent. They had a lot of bloated contracts that Tom Telesco left them with. But I'm excited by Justin Herbert. I'm excited by Jim Harbaugh. And so I don't care. This team is going places, and I think they're going to go 12-5. And I have them power rank 6. I have them in the playoffs. And if the Vikings can't be good, my other team has to be good, Josh. At least let me inflate one of my favorite teams. I didn't do it to the Dolphins, spoiler. I didn't do it to the Vikings. I didn't really do it to Detroit. Let me inflate one of my teams. 12-5 Chargers. What do you got?
I have them going 8-9, which is a little bit more realistic. Last year, they were 21st in points for, 24th in points against. Herbert did miss time, I believe, last year towards the end of the season, and he was kind of banged up throughout it. But they lost all of their wideout production, all of their running back production. They brought in 2 injured guys. I'm pretty sure both Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins. Dobbins was rehabbing a Achilles injury, I believe. Gus Edwards is literally built like a bus, so who knows? But yeah, 8 wins, surely because halfway through the season, Jim Harbaugh is going to line up at wideout. So that's the only reason I got them getting that many wins, I believe. And yes, I've come around to the Chargers bus. I've said that I enjoy their memeing. I enjoy Justin Herbert. I think he's a funny human being, but that team lost way too much talent to win double digits.
How dare you?
Moving on to Las Vegas Raiders. Points for last year, they were 23rd. Points against, they were 9th, so a top 10 D. They just signed Gardner Minshew, and Minshew just helped Indy to a top 10 finish as far as points for goes, and they have the 2 stud tight ends and Devonta Adams. So I do think that if Minshew's starting, which it sounds like is going to be decided this weekend, who the official starter is, I think that his just ability to control the football is going to help them improve in the points for, going 8-9.
I am not so keen on the Vegas Raiders as you are, Josh. I have them going 3-14. Mike Clay had them at 6 wins. The 3 wins I gave them were because of the mustache. This is just a team in turmoil, even though they got their coach. His name is escaping me. He's a longtime assistant. What's their? Do you remember their
Antonio
head coach's
Pierce?
name? There we go. I know that's the team, or that's the coach that the entire locker room wanted, but I just still feel like there are going to be shadows of Josh Daniels on this team, and it's not anyone in the building's fault, but that team just made a bunch of mistakes, and so it's an organization in turmoil. I'm only giving them 3 wins. I would love to see them succeed. I'm a big fan of Gardner Minshew, just like you, but I couldn't give them more than 3 wins based on their schedule.
So you think they're going to go worse? I mean, Josh McDaniels was 3-5, and then Antonio Pierce was 5-4 last season.
You heard what I said.
Okay, just saying.
They also lost premier running back Josh Jacobs. Hello.
He was hurt last year.
Moving on to the Miami Dolphins, Josh. It's no secret to anyone how much I love this team. They were pretty much my 3rd/4th team. It goes Vikings, Chargers. And then last year I really, really pulled on the Dolphins and the Lions. And I love the coach over there. And I just love the players. I don't have the faith in them this year. I have them going 8-9. There's just something about that formula over there that doesn't work. Even Mike Clay gave them more wins than I did. He gave them 10 wins. I want this team to be a contender so bad. I'm just trying to be realistic after I was overly biased with the Chargers. I have them power ranked number 21. God, I want the Dolphins to do so good, but I just don't think it's going to happen. What do you think, Josh?
I was a little bit more optimistic than you. I had them going 10-7, but they'd be another first-round exit in the playoffs, I believe. Last year, they were 2nd in points for, 22nd in points against. Their offense should still be electric with who they have, but their defense lost a lot of guys. And they just weren't good to begin with. So they may put up 40, but they'll give up 45. So it's going to be one of those things where it's not going to be a pretty finish. And so I know that they were fun to watch last year. They put up 70 against Denver, but in the end, it doesn't matter because they were trounced in the first round of the playoffs anyways. So yeah, I have them going 10-7. I heard the interview with the McAfee when they had McDaniel on, and I lost brain cells listening to that man speak. So
how dare you?
So that's what I heard on repeat, it seemed like. Moving on, New England in the same division. I have them going 6-11. Last year they were 31st in points for, so not the worst team, but not the best. They're 15th in points against. I put all of my predictions in before the Matt Judon trade to Atlanta. But even with him gone, that defense was still pretty solid, middle of the pack. But they do have a little bit more, hopefully, promise in Drake May. And, oh boy, Jacoby Brissett, right, at quarterback?
I don't even know. Sure.
So, so that's going to be better than Mac and Cheese Jones. But I had them getting 6 wins, which I believe last year they had 5-4. So 2 more than last year, but they should have gotten an easier schedule based on their finish last year too.
I was not nearly as, I would not say you were bullish on the New England Patriots, but I was extremely bearish compared to you on the New England Patriots. Mike Clay gave them 5 wins. I gave them 1 win. I have them as the laughing stock of the league. I gave them power rank number 32. This isn't necessarily a reflection of the new coach. It's not necessarily a reflection of some of the talent on the team. I'm not a believer in Drake May. I think this organization is just going to have to dig out of the hole and then of the shadow of Billy B, who was clearly not on it in his past, 3 years at least. So I think Billy B is the greatest coach of all time, but this organization needs to completely find its new identity, I think. So I have them going 1-16. I have them as the worst team in the league this year. Moving on to the Jets, Josh, this is actually our biggest difference in power ranking out of the AFC teams we'll be discussing today. Mike Clay gave them 12 wins. I gave them 10 wins. I have them going 10-7. For me, I had to just build in some losses that were I do build in potential injuries or potential drama or potential nonsense. Aaron Rodgers has continued to over and over again prove himself as somewhat of a. Sometimes he's made of glass. Sometimes he's just a bit too dramatic or moody for his own things. I can't, in good conscience, try and support the man anymore. I think 10 wins is fine enough. Sure, they're capable of more. Aaron Rodgers is still one of the most talented quarterbacks to play the position. I'll never take that away from him. His talent is undeniable. But I have, just as a team, I don't know, there seems to be some dysfunction. There seems to be something going on with the Jets. And I can't fully get behind them. So I have them power rank 14. Josh, you?
Well, I have them going 14-3, so 4 more wins than you. And so power rank though, yeah, I had them power rank 2, and that's not me. That was just me going down the list, sorted wins to losses, and I think alphabetical order kind of played a factor in teams that were tied. But 14 wins is still a lot. Last year they were 29th in points for and 12th in points against, so they had a solid defense, offense, not so hot, but they did win 7 games with Zach Wilson, Tim Boyle, and Trevor Siemian at the helm. So Rodgers could win 7 without any Achilles. I think 2 Achilles, even if one is bionic, should double that win total of 7, bringing them to 14. Math.
Boy math.
Moving on to Pittsburgh. I really hate to say it, but I have them going 8-9.
It's unpopular, Josh.
And that is Tomlin's first losing season as a head coach. I'm sorry, Tomlin. I'm sorry, Eric's, if you're still out there.
Eric's is dead.
But that is the same record that Russell Wilson led the Denver Broncos to last year. And their offense, I don't think their offense is going to be 28th anymore because no Canada. But it is going to be in the 20s because Team 3's new home and land. So I don't think Russell Wilson's any good anymore. 8 wins is all I got. Mike Clay has them at 7.9, aka 8 as well.
I can't believe you would have the audacity to have the Pittsburgh Steelers so absolutely low, Josh. I gave them 1 more win than you did. I have the Pittsburgh Steelers going 9-8 just because I could not give Mike Tomlin a losing record. We've tried to doubt him for years and years now, Josh. And what does this man do? He's proven us wrong every year so far.
We?
Yeah.
We? Just one year that you decide that they're gonna go 3-14, and it's we now. You decide it, and I'm the one that gets dragged into this.
Yeah, no. Josh. It's the royal we. We is a show. But I think Wilson could do well with Tomlin if this guy just maybe shuts up, does a couple less Subway commercials, just worries about the game versus like his movie of a life, as McAfee coins it. The guy's just always trying to be perfect and annoying. Maybe he should just focus on ball a little bit. And yeah, Tomlin never has a losing record anyways, and he can't go 8-8 anymore, so he has to have 9 wins. Simple as that. We're almost dead even on the power rankings. You have them power rank 19 with 1 less win than I have. I have them power rank 20 with 1 more win, so we're pretty close. Moving on to the final AFC team, Josh, we're talking about the Tennessee Titans, and neither of us have much faith in this team this year. I have them going 2-15. Oh fuck! What's the former coach's name? The linebacker, Vrabel, Mike Vrabel. My brain is just mush tonight. Vrabel's at. Their GM was at. Tannehill's at. There's a lot of things. Derrick Henry's at. So it's just a team that's led by Will Levis and Tony Pollard, and I guess DeAndre Hopkins and Calvin Ridley are there. Woo! But I couldn't even tell you who their head coach is. I don't remember it being a splashy, exciting name. I could be wrong. I have not done research before this pod tonight. But yeah, I think a bottom of the league team. I have them power rank 29. What do you got, Josh?
Well, last season Tennessee was 27th in points for and 16th in points against. My only note was I had them going 1-16, worse than what you are. They're my power rank 31 team. So yes, I do have one team that is ranked worse than them. But Yeah, like you said, they lost a lot of pieces. Will anti-milkman Levis is their leading, or is their quarterback? Yeah, sure, he could throw 4 touchdowns to DeAndre Hopkins in a game, but he didn't do much more for the rest of the season. I guess, yeah, that team is a big old question mark because, like you said, I don't know the name of the head coach either. In fact, I'd have more faith putting the Carolina Panthers against Tennessee Titans in a Super Bowl. I'd bet money on Carolina in that one, even if Bryce Young needs a step stool to get to the center.
All right, well, there you have it, folks. That's the 16 teams of the AFC. We both think Kansas City is going to yet again be the best team in the league. Josh has much more faith in the Jets than I do, and I have much more faith in the Chargers than Josh does. Anything else you want to leave the folks with, Josh, before we abscond, before we get out of here, and then we'll come back next time and talk about the 16 NFC teams?
Yeah, I mean, we should have talked about the wins versus the power rank, because like I said, the power rank I didn't put any thought into. I just did 1 through 30. Yeah, but the wins, I don't know, because I don't know what your formula is. They're not that far off on a lot of them. I think that I was trying to find the biggest swing in that. And I believe like the Chargers, we were 4 off. Same with the Jets. New England, we were 5 off. So even though we were, closer in the power rankings, they were still 5 games away. So yeah, we can do that next time. Same with Denver.
Sounds good. Yeah, we can edit the spreadsheet up a little bit, make it a little bit sexier. But thank you everyone so much for listening. We'll be back next Tuesday, Wednesday-ish. I don't know. We continue to get more loosey and goosey with this. We make it much more as a hobby than anything else anymore. No more money comes in. We have 5 listeners, I believe, maybe 4. So this is just for fun for us to get on here and talk about some ball. So don't hold us to a schedule because we're not going to hold ourselves overly strictly just yet. But we love you, and we will talk to you next week. Bye, Josh. Bye, everybody.
Bye.